We tend to think of human history as a continuous, unbroken timeline, but the reality is far more fragile. Our past is actually a scattered collection of surviving fragments, hiding massive voids where entire chapters of human experience were swallowed whole. One of the most terrifying of these voids opened in 536 AD. Without warning, a thick, suffocating fog rolled across the northern hemisphere and blocked out the sun for 18 agonizing months. Temperatures plummeted, crops failed globally, and snow fell in China in the middle of summer. For centuries, historians only had the panicked written accounts of the darkness. Then, researchers found the physical evidence in ice cores from Greenland and Antarctica. A distinct chemical spike of volcanic ash and sulfur was trapped perfectly in the layer from exactly 536 AD. Yet, even with absolute chemical proof that a massive eruption triggered a global famine and reshaped human civilization, the exact location of that volcano remains unknown. 3,000 years ago, the Mycenaeans, the Hittites, and the Egyptians were the bleakly interconnected superpowers of the ancient world. They managed vast armies, monumental stone engineering, and complex trade networks. Around 1200 BC, this entire international system shattered. Within just a few decades, all of these major empires collapsed almost simultaneously. These civilizations relied completely on each other for vital resources. The Hittites needed copper from Cyprus, Cyprus needed Egyptian grain, and Egypt relied on timber from Lebanon. When one civilization struggled, it pulled the others down in a catastrophic domino effect. The resulting Dark Age was so severe that writing disappeared in some regions for centuries. Advanced international complexity created a historical vulnerability that eventually erased the record of its own existence. High in the Himalayas, at 16,000 feet, lies Roopkund Lake. For most of the year, it is frozen solid. But when the summer ice melts, hundreds of human skeletons float to the surface of this remote pool. Forensic analysis shows the victims died from blunt force trauma to the skull. Every person had the same deep, round cracks on the top of their head, caused by heavy objects falling from directly above during a lethal freak hailstorm. Modern DNA testing complicated the mystery further. The victims belonged to completely separate global populations, including groups from South Asia and the Mediterranean, who died at this exact lake nearly 1,000 years apart. Advanced biological testing has exposed a massive gap in the record. We have no historical explanation for why radically different cultures from different continents were repeatedly drawn to this specific lethal location. The Romans were obsessive record keepers, documenting everything from army logistics to recipes. Yet they never once mentioned these hollow bronze objects. Archaeologists have found over 100 scattered across Europe, with no written clue as to their purpose. Every face features a hole of a different size, ranging from a golf ball to a grapefruit. This design makes the common theories, like surveying tools or standard measuring devices, mathematically impossible, as the objects lack any form of standardization. In Japan, a different kind of historical void is created by modern boundaries rather than lost scrolls. Massive ancient burial mounds called Kofun dominate the landscape, with the largest keyhole-shaped tombs exceeding the area of the Great Pyramid of Giza. We have almost no idea what sits inside these massive structures. The Japanese government strictly bans all excavation, claiming these are the resting places of the imperial family's ancestors and must remain untouched. These unmapped tombs represent a deliberate modern choice to prioritize an official narrative over uncovering the physical truth of the past. The Silphium plant was so valuable to the Roman Empire that they paid for it with its own weight in pure silver. It served as their primary pharmacy, treating everything from coughs to fevers, while doubling as a daily culinary seasoning. It was biologically stubborn, refusing to grow anywhere on Earth except for a small stretch of coastline in modern-day Libya. Romans watched the plant disappear generation by generation. Ancient writers documented its growing rarity, yet the harvest continued until the last known stock was handed to Emperor Nero in the 1st century AD. We erased a unique species from history because human demand outpaced nature. Its biological identity is permanently lost, leaving us only with coins and descriptions of a plant that could cure almost anything but greed. Around 2300 BC, the city of Akkad served as the administrative and military hub of the world's first empire. It was a center of immense wealth and artistry that dominated the ancient Middle East. We have meticulous records of its kings and laws, but the city itself has vanished. Shifting rivers and millennia of mud have buried the ruins so deeply that over a century of searching has failed to produce a single stone of the capital. This clay tablet, the Sumerian King List, is an official record of ancient Sumer's rumors. Used for political legitimacy, it contains a bizarre mathematical shift. Early kings rule for tens of thousands of years until a massive flood. Afterward, reigns drop to normal human lifespans. We are left with a collection of surviving facts permanently mingled with myth, a record that reveals how easily time and choice can vary the truth.